Michigan Building Trades. Sorry for the audio there. This call will be recorded and it's on the record. You are welcome to record. We will also be recording and we'll share that after the call. I will turn things over to Senator Stabenow to kick off now.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us on another Pure Michigan Day. I want to say thanks, first of all, to Ryan Bennett, all your members, Rebuilding Michigan. It's exciting to see what's happening, all the great union jobs being created, and to Representative Christian Grant, who I'll turn things over to in just a minute, representing the West Michigan and Grand Rapids. But before J.D. Vance waltzes into West Michigan later today, by the way, going to a non-union facility to misrepresent Donald Trump's abysmal economic record in their extreme agenda, we're on this call to set the record straight. Donald Trump's first presidency cost Michigan hundreds of thousands of jobs. He was the first president in our lifetime to actually leave office having lost jobs. Imagine that. He left us on the brink of a recession, and as president, we all know his main legislative effort, the Trump tax bill, which was a massive handout to billionaires and big corporations, really did a number of things for them and nothing for everybody else in Michigan. He gave tax cuts to big pharma, helped billionaires pay less taxes than the vast majority of Michiganders. And by the way, when he cut drug companies' taxes 40%, people's prices for medicine didn't go down. And he didn't do anything to bring them down. We've continued to pay the highest prices in the world until the Biden-Harris administration, working with Democrats, took on the drug companies to bring prices down. Those are the failed policies that J.D. Vance is trying to sell today in Grand Rapids. But J.D. Vance's spin doesn't erase the facts, the lives, the livelihoods that were lost under Donald Trump's disastrous handling of the economy and COVID. We can't afford to go back. And we definitely cannot afford their dangerous Project 2025 agenda, because the policies in that document, a document that J.D. Vance praised and was written by some of his close friends, is absolutely crazy and anti-American in terms of our American way of life. They're incredibly dangerous in their agenda. And some of that's gotten a lot of attention, like the national abortion ban and taking away all of our reproductive freedoms. But there's a whole lot else that's in there, from effectively ending Social Security and Medicare and children's health insurance, for example. And I could go on and on. We also have to talk about the fact that their agenda would actually raise costs on middle-class families by rejecting what we've done to lower prescription drug costs. They want to end our efforts on lowering medicine while giving the drug companies another round of huge tax cuts. We know the truth. In less than one term, the Biden-Harris administration has created over 420,000 new jobs in Michigan. Let me say that again, 420,000 new jobs in Michigan, including over 20,000 manufacturing jobs. And they've invested in hundreds of infrastructure projects, including 44 new manufacturing facilities being built after decades and decades of no new plants. This election is a choice between two very different visions, one that grows the economy and reduces costs for people, and one that helps billionaires and big corporations at the expense of working families. A choice between a disgraced former president, who's also a felon, who left office with the worst job record of any president in modern American history, and Vice President Harris, who helped deliver one of the strongest job markets in history, with more to come, frankly. Just the other night, Donald Trump was openly laughing with Elon Musk about how he would fire workers who went on strike. And the UAW even filed federal labor charges against him for threatening and intimidating workers. Bottom line, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance will never miss an opportunity to screw workers. If there's two things Michigan voters hate, It's Buckeyes and politicians that lie to them. And JD Vance is both. Michiganders don't want to go back to the chaos and the craziness and the dishonesty of Donald Trump and his new VP pick. We want to keep moving forward. Boy, do we. And that's what a President Harris and Vice President Walz means for Michigan. So I want to turn it over now to the great Representative Christian Grant.
Thank you so much, Senator Stabenow, and thank you for all the work that you've done for our state. We are very lucky and proud to have a champion like yourself. I'm Representative Christian Grant, and I represent Grand Rapids, and it's really, important to me, and I'm happy to be here today to talk about what the distinct difference is between the two candidates that we will have in front of us in November. They have two very different visions for America and for the future of the state of Michigan. And I think that that is what we have to keep dead center in front of us as we're making decisions and we're heading to the ballot. A vote for Vice President Harris and Governor Walz is a vote that focuses on an economy that is built from the ground up. It includes the people who are starting from the bottom in America. It's investing in the middle class, which we are really in a fight to keep and expand in America, but especially in Michigan. And a vote for Donald Trump and JD Vance is a vote that is taking the trickle down approach, investing in billionaires, investing in the people who have more than all of us combined, and hoping that they will somehow give us a handout. Although they say that they don't believe in handouts, it's also what they try to sell us on, that at some point they'll give us a handout and that is how we'll make it. Vice President Kamala Harris believes that we shouldn't have to wait on handouts, but that we should be given the opportunity to build our own futures. She was raised by a working mom who was in the middle class, and she grew up in a middle class neighborhood, so she understands it. When Donald Trump was raised by a family who would not offer housing and would not offer supports to families who were working to build themselves. Instead, they went out of their way. They broke the law to make sure that people did not have access. And if that's what they did decades ago, don't expect it to change. And we've seen in his first term that that is not something that he looks to change. Kamala Harris is actually putting in the work to help families. She's made that clear. She did it as Attorney General in California, going after greedy health insurance companies, reducing healthcare costs. She did that by forcing Big Pharma to lower their drug prices and also looking to take on corporate landlords and cap unfair rent prices. Holding corporations accountable for the benefit of Michiganders and Americans across the country is so very important. Meanwhile, JD Vance and Donald Trump can't hide from the fact that their agenda is Project 2025. And we cannot be fooled by what people are telling us. We have to look at what their actions say. And their actions align with Project 2025. The people that they are surrounding themselves with and working with align with Project 2025. So no matter what they say, we have to acknowledge that this is their agenda. And in that agenda, looking at taking away Medicaid, looking at dismantling Social Security, which millions of Michiganders have paid into. They have paid for the generations before them to have those benefits, and it's benefits that we deserve to have as we move forward and grow old as Michiganders as well. So these are things that you don't have to take our word for. These are things that we know to be fact, that they have given more tax breaks to billionaires while they overly tax working class families. We've seen that as the tax plan has gone into effect over the last few years, and people are starting to feel it, and they need to know where this is starting from, where this is coming from. Ending the Affordable Care Act is also something that Project 2025 talks about. We've done work in Michigan in the state legislature to codify that act, but federally, we have to have a president and vice president that understand the need and are willing to support and do that work as well. So we have to cut through the lies and the misinformation. Grand Rapids, we did it before, and I have all the faith that we can do it again. I know that we are going to decisively reject MAGA and everything that it stands for. And we are going to ride this exciting wave that Democrats are starting, where we can celebrate, we can be happy about what the future is. We've seen that over the past few weeks. And I'm just excited to remove the lies and the cynicism from what politics looks like in Michigan and talk about what is truth and what is fact. Now, I will say that it is my honor to introduce Ryan Bennett, the president of the West Michigan Building Trades. He's a great friend and a great partner of mine. So, Ryan, take it away.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Rep. Grant. It's an honor to be on a call with two labor leaders. Senator Stabenow, entire career of defending and having the backs of working folks like me and my members. Couldn't thank you more. And Rep. Grant, just getting started in the legislative career there and really restoring Michigan as it's back to its pro-worker roots. So it's an honor to be here. My name's Ryan Bennett. I serve as the president of the West Michigan Building Trades. And look, the stakes of this election for working families in Michigan, it couldn't be higher. The choice between the two tickets, it couldn't be more clear. No matter what lies J.D. Vance is going to spew this afternoon in Grand Rapids about the vice president and about Donald Trump and his shameful record here in Michigan, we all know the truth. The truth is that under Trump, Michigan lost over 280,000 jobs, and auto factories across the country shut down, including here in Michigan. Trump's policies shipped good-paying jobs overseas. He packed his administration with anti-union appointees who ripped away important worker protections and made it harder for workers to organize. Both Trump and J.D. Vance opposed the PRO Act, which simply allows workers to form unions to bargain collectively for better wages and better working conditions. J.D. Vance, he's never been a friend to union workers, so it's no surprise that his event later today will be at a non-union facility. Trump and J.D. Vance, they're experts at pandering, but their policies tell a different story. The only people Trump ever tries to help are his billionaire buddies and the largest, wealthiest corporations in the country. And it's always at the expense of working people. So this Project 2025 agenda, which they own, no matter how many times they try to lie about their involvement, it would make it harder for workers to organize. It would ban public sector unions, and it would even allow employers to stop paying overtime. This is just crazy. It's frightening. But that's the choice we have this November. And Kamala Harris, we have a leader who has always supported working families, who has walked the picket line with striking workers, and who has delivered real jobs and real progress for Michiganders. As Attorney General, she made cracking down on wage theft a priority, and as a U.S. Senator, she stood in solidarity with workers calling for pay raises. And as part of what is the most pro-union administration in history, she's helped create millions of good-paying union jobs here at home, and she's led the White House's labor task force dedicated to organizing and empowering workers. So while Donald Trump demonizes unions, Vice President Harris defends unions. Donald Trump denigrates workers and his policies screw them over. Vice President Harris stands up for workers, and her policies will actually make our lives better. This is all to say there's only one candidate on the ballot for president who has the backs of working people here in Michigan, who has a track record of getting things done for us. And that's Vice President Harris. The road for victory is going to run through the state of Michigan, right? So we're going to get out the vote here in West Michigan. We're going to get out the vote across the state of Michigan, and we're going to send her and Governor Walz to the Oval Office this November. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now open things up for any questions from press. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function and I will call on you. Alrighty, it looks like we have a question from Clara Hendrickson. And if you could unmute yourself and please state your name and outlet.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, wonderful. So my question is, looking at some polling, I'm seeing that voters trust Harris on the economy more than they did Biden when he was running for president. And I'm hoping you all can speak to why you think that shift has occurred.
Senator Stabenow, if you could unmute.
I am so sorry. How many times do we do that, right? So I appreciate the question, Claire. And I think what's happening is people are seeing it themselves and really feeling what's happening. And when we talk about jobs, it takes a while. All the great work that's being done in rebuilding Michigan, it takes a while to get that up and going. It is going now. We're seeing jobs begin to come home from overseas. When we're talking about 44 new manufacturing facilities and counting, that's real. And we've got more growth in small businesses than we've had in 50 years. And so more wealth in the Black community, 60% more wealth. So people are beginning to really see that and feel that. It takes a while to move the ship around from trickle-down economics, which Donald Trump and J.D. Vance espouse, to really focusing on growing the middle class. And so people are beginning to see that now. Prices are coming down, inflation down, thank goodness. If you see high prices now, chances are it's price gouging. It's not inflation. Inflation's come down. People are seeing with their medicine what's happening now, the overall out-of-pocket cap and the $35 cap on insulin. So people are now seeing that there's more money in their pocket, they can afford their medicine, there are more opportunities for them. If you're a student and your student loan debt has been eliminated, that's huge. Real things for real people are happening.
Great. Meryl Cornfield with the Washington Post.
Hey, thank you so much for taking my question. I really appreciate it and hearing from both of you. I'm hoping that you might talk about what we are expected to hear from Vice President Harris later this week on her policy speech on the economy. If there are policies you'd like to hear her address. And also there was an Axios report this morning that some of what she might talk about she might try to distance herself from some of what Biden has done in the past. If you think that there are opportunities for her to define herself in a way that voters haven't yet seen.
Well, let me just jump in and say, first of all, I'll let the vice president really speak to her ideas, but I'm sure she's going to want to build on the economic foundation that we've seen for rebuilding America and bringing jobs home and bringing down costs. I know that she has a full range of specific issues. She wants to prioritize housing being one, other costs for families. So many times when she was a senator and we were good friends and we would sit in meetings and she would say, let's focus on the things that wake families up at 3 o'clock in the morning. The things that they care about, their job, the cost of housing, the food for their kids, their health insurance. I mean, that's the way she thinks. And so I'm sure she's going to focus on those things.
Wonderful. I don't see any other hands raised. If anyone has a question, please use the raise hand feature. Just give folks a minute in case anyone's having any trouble. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We will make sure to share the recording and hope you all have a great day.
Recording stopped.